Hey parents, welcome to Parenting with Miss Hugs. I'm Judah Lynn Hugs, and today we're going to be talking about co-parenting or parenting on the same page. So oftentimes we have families where children pit mom and dad against one another in order to get their way. It's as old as time. Children have been doing this for eons. But there is a way to get around it. So if you are married or cohabitating, you live in the same home, it's really important when your children come to you, they should know that you are both on the same page. And that really only happens by making sure that they do know that. And that comes with having family meetings, which I've talked about before. And I really encourage that. Have a meeting as a whole family and let your children know, hey, when you come to ask me or the other parent if you can do something or how we feel about it, if you've already talked to one parent and they've said no, I'm going to know that. So this is where parents have to be on the same page. And that means you're communicating. Man, communicating is the key to any relationship, any organization, and any family, any healthy family anyway. So if your family's not so great about communicating, if that's not been one of your strong suits, make it one. It is not too late. So get together with your better half and talk about how you can be on the same page. Now, that does not mean that you're always going to agree on everything. That won't happen. I wish it would, but it's not going to. So talk about the things that are important to you, things that you've already experienced, times when the kids have already pitted you against one another. And it has turned into an argument or at least strain between the two of you. Talk about that. Be open about it. And decide together as a unit that you are going to parent together. You're going to be on the same page. Like I said, you don't have to agree on it. Sometimes one of your feelings is going to be stronger than the others. You know what? It's a win. If you let the other parent have what feels important to them in this instance, then they're going to be more apt to consider your feelings in another instance. So don't be afraid of that. Go ahead and if it's not a big deal to you, maybe it's something that you would like for the kids to do or not like for the kids to do, but it's just not really that huge a deal, but it is to the other parent. Let them have it. But make sure that your children know that you stand together on this. Now, if you are co-parenting, man, that comes with a whole lot of baggage, for lack of a better term. And I know it is not always easy. It's not always easy to parent when you're married and you love each other and you really want to work on it together. That's hard. But when you're not and you've gone through a nasty divorce or separation and there's a lot of animosity and anger and hurt that still lies there, co-parenting can be a real struggle. So get together if at all possible. I know that there are times when it's not possible. You are just going to have to do the very best that you can. So I totally understand it is not always an option. If it is an option, however, get with your child's other parent and say, hey, this is becoming an issue. And then explain why. Share what has happened where you feel that y'all been pitted against one another, that you've been played by your child. And don't be mad at your child for it. That is normal. That is typical behavior. We tell children all the time, act your age. They are. So, doesn't mean that it's okay behavior, but it is normal behavior unless they have already been taught differently. And that teaching is what we're talking about right now. So get together with your child's other parent and talk about what has happened in the past, things that you fear are coming up, and then get on the same page. Have the conversation of, you know what, I know we disagree on everything, but we both love our child, or we both love our children. I know how much you care about your child, and I want us to be able to co-parent. I want us to be able to be on the same team, which is team child. Man, when you're on the same team, that means you are both rooting for and working toward the same goals for your child. And that is huge. And if your child knows that, man, one, it takes away all of that pitting against each other, because they know that y'all are gonna pick up the phone and you're gonna call and you're gonna talk about it. And if your child knows that, then a lot of that just immediately fades away. But also, when your children know that you are in communication in a positive way with your ex, with their other parent, it gives them a sense of security. I know that may not sound right to you, or it may seem peculiar, but psychologically, that is what it does. It gives your child a sense of security, knowing that, man, even though they can't stand each other, they love me. They both love me, and they are working toward the same goals for me. So if it's at all possible, do that. I was watching a movie with my mom the other night, and it was the new Julia Roberts and George Clooney movie. And they couldn't stand each other. I mean, it was so obvious. Like, I think she said that she tried to keep them on separate time zones. So there was that much animosity between them. So it happens, I get it. But the one thing that they had in common, the one thing that they could not argue about, was how much they loved and supported their daughter. So, guys, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of being on the same page. Now, there are some things, like I said, that don't really matter. And there are some things that you're gonna have rules at this house that are different from the rules at your other parent's house. That is very common, very typical, not a big deal. Kids have to learn to adjust to those kinds of things. But on the big stuff, like who you're allowed to spend time with on weekends, if there's a big party that's coming up. Now, this is more for secondary age, middle school and high school age kids. Man, it is so, so important that you be on the same page with this, because that's where damage can be done. Irreparable damage to your relationship, to your parenting, to your co-parenting, and your relationship with your child. Because it can cause distrust, and it's just not a place that you really need to go. Now, like I said, I do understand that there are times when co-parenting is just not an option, and I get it, and I'm sorry for it, because it is certainly not what is best for your child. If it's possible to co-parent, have that communication. Talk with each other. Say, hey, I know it's your weekend, but there's this party coming up this weekend, and I don't think that it's a good idea to go, and this is why. And share your reasons why. And that way, you're on the same page. Or maybe it's the opposite. Hey, I know that you're leery about Susie going to parties, but there is a party coming up this weekend. Let me tell you what I've already found out. This is where it's going to be. These are the chaperones that are going to be there. I've already talked to this mom or this dad, and I really do feel that it's a safe situation. You're even welcome to come and hang out for a little while until you feel comfortable in leaving. Have that conversation. It's huge. When you do that, you're giving your child that sense of security, knowing that their parents are on the same page when it comes to them. Also, you're letting your child know, you cannot pit us against each other anymore. That's not going to work, love bug. We as parents, love you too much to let that happen. So that's huge. But also, you're building that relationship, that co-parenting relationship with the other parent. And that's huge. Now, not easy. I get it. Sometimes there are big emotions that go with even talking to that person, with even thinking about that person, much less having to communicate with them on a regular basis about your child. I don't know how to make that easier except to say it's what's best for your kid. And, you know, I was a tough love mom. I'm a tough love teacher, a tough love counselor, mom, sister, you name it. I believe in loving candor. And what I can say to you on this one is suck it up, Buttercup. You know, your child comes first. And I know that you work so hard at putting your child first in all of these other situations. This one can't be different. This one has to be a priority, that you are going to co-parent and you are going to do it in the best, most open, communicative manner possible. So pull yourself together. You know, maybe you need to do some tapping to get through it. And I get it, you know, it can bring about a lot of anxiety. And that's something that I can talk about in another episode. But until then, find a way to communicate, if possible, with your co-parent. And make sure that you're talking about these things. You know, if there are medical situations going on, be open. Let them know, hey, had to go to the doctor. Hey, had an accident, we're at the ER. Otherwise, when they find those things out later, they're hurt, they're pissed. So just be open. Remember that as much as you love your child, the other parent loves them equally as much. So be open in as much as you can be. And if the other parent doesn't reciprocate that, you know what? Their behavior is on them. This is what I teach kids all the time. And I have to tell myself this pretty frequently. I had come to Jesus moments. You and your behavior are what you can control. You cannot control anyone else's thoughts, anyone else's behavior, anyone else's words. So be in control of yours. There are a few things that happen with that. One, you're setting the example for your child. And that is the number one thing that you need to remember. You are setting the example every single day for your child to follow. And that means you are looking at the things that you say, the attitude that you have, your tone of voice, your facial expressions, how you respond to others when you're driving, situations that come up that you might not even think about as a big deal. Your child is listening, your child is watching, and your child is learning how they should interact with other people, how they should handle their own stress, how they should handle their own emotions. You are their number one teacher, okay? So it is of the utmost importance that you set that example. So back to our co-parenting. When you're reaching out to that other parent, you're showing your child that you're really putting forth your best effort. Now, that does not mean that when they don't respond, then you're going, hey, I tried to talk to your mom, I tried to talk to your dad, and they blew me off, or they flipped me off, or they responded in a very ugly, negative way. Your child should not know those things, okay? If you badmouth their other parent, it doesn't reflect well on you. And I know, man, do I know, we want to be open and honest with our kids and tell them exactly what happened and have them understand. Guys, they're children. They do not need to know that. They should be able to have all of these positive, wonderful feelings about both of their parents, and what they learn about you as their parent comes from how you act, how you respond, and the things that you teach them one-on-one, okay? how they see you behave in certain situations, and what they know about their other parent is how they respond, how they talk about you, how they talk about other people, how they respond in situations. Let your child know who both of their parents are by the way that they act and the way that they treat them, not by your personal feelings or what has happened between the two of you. That can actually do a lot of damage to your child. And here's the biggie that I know you don't want. It can do a lot of damage to your relationship with your child, because it can backfire. And they can go, you know what? I'm so tired of you bad-mouthing mom or bad-mouthing dad. And it can get nasty pretty quickly, even if it's true. It doesn't matter. Let your child know their other parent by their actions, by their deeds, by their words, and how they treat them. So, all of that being said, co-parenting is hard. I get it. But it is so valuable and so important to your child's development and to your child's feeling of safety and comfort and security. It can really be huge in their lives. So I cannot emphasize this enough. Please, please, please co-parent whenever possible. Be open, and remember that you are setting those examples with your children. Have those parent meetings. I'm telling you, they can be a game changer in your family. Be open. Everyone is allowed to communicate. Everyone is allowed to have their say and feel that they're being heard, and that what they feel and what they say is valued. So just give it a try and see how it works. And let me know. I would love for you to let me know how things are working for you in the comments of this. You're welcome to email me at judalynhugs@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Please subscribe to my channel and click the little bell so that you get notifications when I release a new episode. And if you would like my parenting guide, you can email me and I will send it to you for free. It has some great information in it, some of what we've talked about today and so much more. So just let me know how I can help you. And if there are things that you would like for me to talk about, please let me know. I want this to be a resource for all parents, and that includes you. So thank you so much for listening. Have a blessed day. Tell your children you love them. Much love.